Hi, this is Lucy from Lyft. We're a national nonprofit organization that partners with families to break the cycle of intergenerational poverty. You're about to listen to a conversation I had with one of our parents, Natalya. After being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, Natalya found herself in a tough spot. With 2 sons to support and big dreams of being an entrepreneur, Natalya came to Lyft looking for the support she needed to turn those dreams into a reality and to provide the best possible future for her family. As you'll soon find out, she's done just that and so much more. We're so excited for you to meet her. Enjoy this conversation and learn more about Lyft by visiting whywelyft.org. Okay, Natalya, let's get started talking about before you came to Lyft. So just tell me a little bit about yourself and your life before Lyft, kind of where you were in your life and what brought you to Lyft and to learning about the program.
Well, in the beginning, I was working at Ralph Lauren, I was working at Gymboree, and then I was working for a limousine company. I was a chauffeur. After I got diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, I couldn't work anymore. So after I got diagnosed, my Mustafa started attending Apple Tree, and a young lady just came in. We was, registering, putting our kids, signing their names up to go into class. And, a young lady says, "Have you heard of Lyft?" And I said, "No, what is Lyft?" She was like, "Oh, it's all these different programs. They'll help you get, like have mentors, talk about your goals." I said, "Okay, sign me up." So I went for my first meeting. We talked about all our goals, everything that I wanted to do. And ever since then, it just took off from there.
Awesome. And still, like life before Lyft, tell me about like way back when you were a kid. What were some of your dreams? Like, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Okay, so first I wanted to be an ice skater like Christy Yamaguchi. I wanted to be a runway model, but I was too short, so I only could do face. Then, once I got into high school, I went to Russia as an exchange student. So, my goal was to be a Russian translator. And then I wanted to go to FIT, but after the 911 bombing, my grandmother didn't want me to fly. So, that's when I got pregnant with my oldest, Brian Jr., also known as the Chop.
Awesome. Okay. And what are some of your hobbies and interests still today?
I like to skate. I ice skated when I was in Russia, but I roller skate when I'm here. I like to read. I like to walk. Um, I like to talk on the phone. I love doing one of my favorites that we did, my vision boards, of course.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. And
All right.
I've been riding bikes, so I've pretty much been trying to stay in shape lately.
Nice. Awesome. Okay. So you first heard about Lyft at Apple Tree, you said, where your youngest son was enrolling. He was about to start for pre-K or for pre-3. Um, did you go to any other organizations at the time because you felt like you wanted or needed help, or was Lyft the only one?
Lyft was the only one.
And you think was it because it was just there, it was convenient?
No, it was there. I mean, once the young lady told me it was a mentor, it was like I really want to do it because, for one, I wanted a mentor. I wanted to let somebody know my goals, and my mentor was willing to help. Anything, resources, anything I needed, my mentor was there. So it wasn't just a convenience. I saw a good opportunity and I took it.
Awesome. Okay. And tell me a little bit more about that. What was it like that first time meeting with your coach? I know you and I met first, but what about when you met with Kay and you guys really started digging into your goals?
Oh my gosh! Of course, I love Kay. It was great. Me and Kay like became sisters from like another mom, because every time she came in, it was like, "Okay, what you got now? What you doing now?" It was like every time I told her what was going on, what I was doing, it was just like wow, you are really progressing. Like every time I talk to you, you're doing something different. You keep moving up, you keep moving up. So it was really good. She gave me resources. I cried to Kay about some things that was going on. It was more like a mentor slash sister.
What were some of your initial goals when you first started meeting?
To start my cleaning business and to
Mhm.
get my LLC. That was
So
the
all
main goal, get my cleaning
entrepreneurship.
business and my LLC. And every goal that I achieved, I sent the message to you. And I always said, please CC K and let K know what I'm doing.
Yes, you're always sharing those things, which I think is so important because that's big lift. You should be proud of all of them, and you always are, which is key to being successful.
Yes, I always wanted to let Kay know what I was doing because I started with her. I didn't want it to ever be like, oh gosh, what's Natalya doing? Did she do this? I'm like, anything I doing, please let Kay know.
Absolutely. Okay, what about just kind of overall at Lyft? Are there any particular experiences to Lyft that stand out in your memory?
Yes, the workshops. I loved all the workshops, all the crafts that we made, everything that we did. It was more like a family. It wasn't just like a team. It's like we was always together. Everything, the kids meshed well together. The families meshed well together. We got to connect. We got to talk about our different ideas with workshops. And it was always good because we could always come to you or Patrice and say, hey, this is what I feel. Or, hey, I have an idea. It was never nothing like, we was never like turned away. Y'all always had an open door policy for anything that we did or any feelings that we felt.
What were some of the workshops in particular that you attended? Do you remember?
It was my favorite one was the one downstairs in the what was it? When you come into the art, I think it was the art gallery. I think that was the last one.
Yes, the
And my
appreciate member appreciation.
yes, that was my favorite. And I won the certificate to the um museum. I think I still have it. I won a gift certificate and I still hadn't used it. Now it's expired. Now it's COVID. So it's like, and
Yeah,
I
we're not
always
going to
wanted to
museums.
go. So that was my favorite one. Cause I think we did s'mores. We made everything that day.
Yeah,
And we had
we were
so
eating.
much fun. I still got my pictures. We took pictures. I think Quandra was there. That was one of the best ones. I really liked that one.
Yeah, that was so. I remember. I mean, that was our one of our last in-person things.
Mhm.
That was really special to me. But I do remember very specifically how cool it was to see that you and the other group of Apple Tree Lift moms really had this community, and your kids had that community too.
Yes.
Okay, tell me about how your experience at Lyft, working with Lyft, has been different than your experience at other organizations in the past or other government services that are meant to assist parents and families.
Well, I guess it was different because I never saw these programs when my oldest was growing up. And if it was out there, it wasn't nothing pushed like how, Lyft was. When people are talking about it. You hear people say things, but like I said, I went into the school and I was registering move and the young lady just was asking me, hey, do you know about Lyft? So it was apparently something that has been talked about, something that's been instilled for you to bring it to another parent or somebody
Mhm.
else. And when my oldest was growing up, it was never no really programs that was talked about like that. So it was something different. I'm like, wow, because he's only in pre-K 3. And they're automatically talking about, hey, this is a organization that's for you and your child at such an early age. My oldest, things were like when they got in middle school or high school or something, it wasn't talked about like that with
Mhm.
the young ones these days.
It sounds like that endorsement from another parent was like are really important, right? Like, because they know what it's like to have a little guy following you around and to be.
Yes. So once she had told me about it, and then I was going to the workshops, and then that's when I met Ty. And so that's when Ty was like, "Oh girl, let me tell you about this with Liv. Oh girl." So then that's when me and Ty started getting closer and closer through, Liv, and then do the workshops. And then her kids started being with, Moo at the workshops. And then we started meeting other families. So I really got to give a shout out to, I can't remember the young lady that told me about it, but I know it ended great with, with Tanisha, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Awesome.
she's supportive, and she's like, Liv is all of that. Girl, wait till you meet Lucy. Girl, Lucy is this, Lucy is that. So I'm like, okay. So once I met you, I'm like, oh yes, Lucy is the T. So yes.
Well, thank you. I
You
think
know
you
how
and
we are,
Ty
Lucy.
are the best. So it's mutual. Okay, so now we've talked about your kids a little bit, but let's talk a little bit more about being a mom, and about them. You have two sons. Tell me like a little bit about their personalities, their who they are.
Whew. Well, they're both very smart, but they both very different. The youngest, he's very independent. My oldest is independent, but what I learned from DC schools that, they start their kids at 15 months. Moose started school at 15 months. Merlin school start their kids at like 4 or 5, depending on their birthday. So it's like he learned so much so early, my youngest, versus my oldest learned at like 4 or 5 years old, going to, Merlin schools, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So he's really smart, and I like how they teach them to do just pretty much to be independent. He says, I want to put on my coat by myself. I can do it. I want to put on my shoes by myself. And like the different class, like I know in some of the workshops for the younger ones, they were showing the different personalities with the stickers, like the happy face, sad face. And he's like, "Oh well, mom, I'm feeling this way," or he can show a pic, he can point to it. Versus back then with my oldest, it was okay, it's either yay or nay.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, okay, I'm disappointed. Oh, I'm concentrating. So the words that he's saying now, they wasn't doing that back when my oldest was younger.
Mm-hmm.
So they're both very independent. They both very smart. They want to learn. And Moo is like really inquisitive. And it's like, well, mom, why? And why do you feel like that? And what can I do to help? I'm going to always be here. I'm going to help you do this. And then my oldest, he's like, okay, well, mom, I love you, but I got to do this because, now he's 18. So, he's going through life and exploring things in his life. So they're pretty much the same, but they're different.
That
Yes.
makes sense. And tell me about you as a mom. How do you feel about being a parent, being their parent? What emotions come with that?
Oh, it's a lot. Um, it's challenging sometimes. Sometimes it's overwhelming. But then once like we all together, like we're hugging and we're kissing, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy to be your mom. Because I instill in my boys what was instilled in me. It might come off hard sometimes, it might come off, oh my gosh, teenagers, mom, why, dang, mom, why you gotta? I said, but if I give it to you up front, you'll be ready for the world. If I tell you everything, how it is, how things are supposed to be, you will understand it when it comes directly in front of you. I don't never want my boys to be in a situation where, oh, I didn't know this, or my mom didn't tell me this. I'm like, I'm going to give it to you how the world going to give it to you so you can be prepared. I don't never want you to be in shock or, oh, this is something new. So I try to throw out every situation, good and bad, to my boys so they can know how to react in either situation. Mommy, I help you. Mommy, we are a team. I'm trying to get him instilled in these words now so when he gets bigger, he'll know, okay, this is called work. I know when
Mhm.
I was with my mom and I swept or dust or mop, that was working. I want him to know these words now so when he gets older in the, up in the world, when he hears it, he'll know what it means. And this is like I tell my oldest, these businesses are for just not me. This is for us. I'm trying to show what general wealth can look like starting from the beginning. I said, we're starting out, of course, we're extremely small, but eventually, one day, if when I'm not here, you and your brother would know how to run these businesses. So I instill in them every day, both of them. This is what you need to do. I'm not saying that a 9 to 5 is not a bad thing because I know I've did a 9 to 5, 5 in the morning to 3 or 11 to 2. I mean, work is work. It pays the bills, it's work. But I want you to see that you don't just have to have a 9 to 5. Anything that you can do as far as a skill, put it to use and make money from it. Whether it's cutting grass, cutting hair, sweeping, mopping, building, whatever you can do, that's your skill and that's your talent. And I want you to all, and I tell both of them, I want you to embrace them. And that's what they do.
That's amazing. And I know they are because I saw those pictures of them repping the family biz. Okay, so I want to kind of transition a little bit and tell you that the theme of the report, the annual report, is going to be tides of change because, as you know, this has been a year full of all kinds of changes. For all parents, for all people, there's been all kinds of things that are different than from they were before. But for you, there's been these changes in accomplishments as well as dealing with a pandemic, right?
Yes.
That's pretty big. So just tell me in your own words how your life has changed over the past year.
Well, I get it's changed because now I'm home even more. I wasn't expecting a pandemic, nobody was. And it's like now I'm doing more work in the house than when I was out of the house. Um, like I've always say, you always be careful what you ask for. Because at one point I was at a point where I'm like, oh my gosh, I would like to have Mustafa homeschool. Kept thinking about it, reading about it, researching it. And I'm like, I really think I want to do this until COVID, Corona hit. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot because being, we're not used to schooling our kids at home. We're used to getting them up, getting their breakfast, and getting into school. They go to school, and we pick them up, dinner, bath, and bed, and we do it all over again. Now we are actually seeing what these teachers go through every single day because now we're home with them. Now, now we have to homeschool our kids. So now I said, I'm gonna be careful what I ask for because I wasn't expecting it. I don't have a degree in being a teacher. I don't have a degree in having a curriculum for pre-K 3 or 4. It was okay, school is shut down. Now we're doing distant learning. I had to teach myself more about the internet, the Zoom, it kept reconnecting, connecting, the phone not working. You got to sign in through the phone. We wasn't trained for that. All we was trained was to pick our kids up and drop our kids off. So it was a really big challenge. And then, some people were, oh, you have to have recess on Zoom, break for lunch. I'm like, it was just confusing. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that you're doing in class, you had to do it at home. Or you're trying to what's the word? Do a 4 hour a 8 to 4:30 curriculum in 45 minutes. It's impossible. You can't teach the child something that they're learning from those times to a 45-minute period.
Mm-hmm.
So, the kids get restless, they get tired. They're not used to looking at a screen. They're looking at being in the classroom with their kid, with their friends. So it changed a lot because Moo couldn't see his friends no more.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't go outside. He couldn't go to the playground because the playground is taped up. You can't go this place because you don't have a mask or COVID. You can't touch this. It's really been different, not just for us, for everybody in the world. And it's really been hard. But now that I've gotten used to it, I'm like, okay, I know we got to do a workshop. I know we got to get the glue. We have to do this for this project. So now it's just accustomed to it now. But
Mm-hmm.
it has really, really changed. And I've seen Moo would see his friends. He's like, well, Mom, when do I get to go back to school and play with my friends? And I'm like, it doesn't just happen like that. And then the one day a weeks they were good, but of course, Moo wanted to go back to school and play with his friends. So it changed, but I mean, if it's going to keep us healthy, keeping us away for a while, that's what we have to do at this point.
Definitely. And it sounds like you said, and of course I know a lot of the stuff you've already accomplished, you've shared with me, but you, despite having this additional challenge of kind of becoming a full-time teacher in addition to mom, you are also taking time for yourself to focus on your goals. You're making sure that you have that time despite how busy you are.
Yes.
Amazing. Okay, tell me about what it was like to shift from in-person coaching to virtual coaching with Lyft.
Um, it wasn't hard because now I have the training with the virtual with Moulin School. It was like, okay, well, I'm learning with my coach now.
Mm-hmm.
But my it wouldn't connect sometimes. So me and my coach mainly we talk on the phone. But of course, me and Kay always did our one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had spoke with Patrice a few times, and then now I'm with Miss Arzane. But we
Mm-hmm.
mainly do our phone. We mainly do our mentoring through and coaching through the phone.
You're fun. Fun. And you do a lot of the workshops too, of course, obviously.
Yes.
And you're always
And
on
you already
video.
know, Lucy, any workshop that you're doing, I'm on it. I
Okay.
think I done took some of the workshops 2 or 3 other times.
I know, but I do them too, and I learn something new every time. Okay, tell me about I know we talked about Kay a little bit, but tell me about your relationship with your new coach, because it's only been virtual, right? So you guys have never even met in person. What's that like?
It's good. I like talking to her because she will always say, Natalya, what you got? What you got going on now? I said, you sound just like Kay. I said, girl, I got all this stuff in my head. I want to do this. I want to do that. She's like, okay, hold on. Let me write it down. Let me write it down. So she's a lot like Kay because she's like, every time we talk, you're always so happy. You just keep moving. You just got so many ideas. And I just can't wait to, read about you or hear about you in the near future. So, I mean, my coaches are good. Kay's good, Arzenae's good. You and Patrice is excellent, of course. But I mean, it's good. It's just like talking to one of my girlfriends on the phone. I'd be like, "Hey, A, what's going on? How's everything?" And she
Mm-hmm.
was like, "Hey, Miss Walker." Like, it's not like she my teacher. Just like Kay,
Yeah.
it's like she's my mentor / my sister.
Yeah. It's like not this some,
Yeah,
but
I
really
don't
it's
look
like
at
co-collaborating.
yes, I don't look at like the Zoom or anything like that or the phone. It's not like that. It's like this is my mentor. This is my sister. Hey girl, we just talking on the phone, talking to each other about the goals and everything that I'm doing, about to do, accomplishing, want to accomplish. So that's how it is. I don't look at it like a virtual in person. I don't look at it like that.
Yeah. There's still that relationship regardless of.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Okay, so now here's the most exciting question. Tell me about the goals you have accomplished with Lyft. small, what are the things that you have done?
Okay, so well, first I started with my cleaning business. Then I have went to my bubblegum machines. Now I've started shampoo a carpet, and I've just started teaching myself how to make candles. So everything that I have wanted to do, I've spoke to you or my coaches, and it's just been like a big push. It's like just lift, like your name. It's like you lift me up. Everything I say, it's like, hey, do you need a resource for this? Oh, hey, I can talk to someone about this. Oh, here's the resource for this. This is what you can do. And it's like Oz and they will always give me like other options. Like she knows about my homeowner, my secure credit card. So she's like, I'm like, well, Miss A, I ain't got my bill yet. She's like, oh, well, won't you call them online and see if you can set it up online so you can see your what your balance is, your history, and that way you can pay. She was giving me options of what I can do because I'm like, I haven't spent none, but I'm waiting for the bill. And she's like, just go online and giving me different ideas. I always give her. She always gives me ideas.
Awesome. So it sounds like you had this big focus on becoming an entrepreneur, which you said
Yeah.
was the goal from day one.
Yes.
What were some of the what are some of the steps you had to take to get?
Um. First, I had to brainstorm. Then I had to do a business plan. Then I had to register my business. Then I got my business cards. Then I got my shirts. Then, with the stipend that you all had sent, I got my bubblegum machines. So then I got my candy. And then my granddad just passed, so he had gave me the shampoos for my cleaning business. So I had my shampoos. Then with my candles, I said it's like everything is refurbished. So it's like I'm not really my goal is not to spend a whole lot of money. I'm just trying to use what I had to make it work. So everything that I've been doing is pretty much saving or putting money to one of the businesses. That's my goal. Save, put into one of the business. It doesn't matter which one it is, but long as I'm putting something into something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to I don't want to take away because it's not going to grow if I keep taking away from it.
Yeah, that's awesome. You're investing in yourself and in your creations, your business. You're four in
Yes.
one is how I think of it. Okay. And you have these entrepreneurial successes, but you also mentioned some financial goals, savings, building your credit. Those are things that you have that have been components of starting your business.
Yes. And I always set high goals. So what my goal was when I was with Kay, I always wanted to have at least one or two things accomplished before our next meeting. I never wanted my coaches or my mentors to think that I was just BSing. Every time I went before one of my coaches, or if I talked to Patrice, I wanted my coach to even be like, oh, this is what Natalya did. I always wanted to have something accomplished, even if it was a business card. I'm like, let me bring it to you. I want you to show you the product. I want to bring you the shirt. Let me show you what I did. So Kay, every time she seen me, she was like, I know you have something. Because I never wanted to come there, didn't have nothing, and then I had to wait because sometimes I might be doing something, Kay might be doing something, we might gotta, switch our days out. So I said, when I know I'm gonna see her, I wanted to make sure that I always had something to present to her. And so that's what made it more exciting because she's like, I know you got something else. So even if we had to switch days, that means that I had to have double when I saw her because I didn't see you this day. So I would have to take a picture. I'm sending it to you. I'm like, please send this to Kay.
Mm-hmm.
So I always wanted that just Kay, but I wanted my Lyft family to see, wow, every time that 2 or 3 week period, she's still doing something towards one of her goals.
That's awesome. So you said like your coach is your support and like your friend who you can talk to, but also like that accountability. It like you had these goals, but it perhaps helped you or made you want to speed it up, made you, think, oh, I can break this down and get it going step by step.
Yes.
What's next? What are your next big goals that you are most excited to complete and break down with your coach?
I'm really want to get my goal is to have my house by 40. That is my goal. I just turned 39 last week. So I like my girlfriends, my sister, well, what do you want to do for your 40th? My goal is to be turning my key into my own home. I don't want no party. I don't want no gifts. I don't want nothing. I just want to be moving into my own home. That's all I want.
Amazing.
Yes, so I'm building my
Homeowner
credit.
and business owner.
Yes.
How has and how will achieving your goals benefit your family's future?
I want them to see this is what a working woman looks like. That's what I want them to see. I know if they see me working hard, they're going to want to work hard. If they see me getting my credit together, they're going to have good credit. If they see me opening my door to my new home, they're going to say, "Oh, this is what it's like to open up a door to my new home." So I want to be able to have something that I can pass on down well, of course, it go to the oldest first, and then after the oldest to the move. But that's what I want them to see. I want you to be able to pass it down, generational wealth, passing it down to us.
That's awesome. Okay. And tell me, because I know you are, what keeps you motivated to keep going, keep pushing?
These children, both of these boys. And just showing people, like, even though that you have a disability or disease, you can still keep going. So this is what MS look like.
Looks no different than anybody else to me.
So even though, I get frustrated sometimes, but I know I have to be strong. I have to be strong for myself. I got to be strong for Chop. I got to be strong for Moo. I'm like the glue, even though our family is little, but I was like, I'm the one that has to keep us all together. So that's what I'm pushing for, just to show them it's a better way than, the hard way. You got to work hard, but you can still get a whole lot of things accomplished if you put your mind to it. It's going to be hard, but hard work pays off.
Yes, it does. Okay. And tell me about some of the dreams you have for the boys. Yeah.
Well, Moo's gonna be the next president. I mean,
Well, yeah, I know that.
Yes, Moo's gonna be the next president. And Chop, well, Chop wants to still open up his own clothing line. So, he has ideas. He's like, Mom, what you think about this? So I'm like, put them in your notes, write them down, we come together. Tell me what. So when I show him some of my stuff that I want to do, so he's like, oh yeah, Mom, we could work together. We could do this. So, and he loves candy. Gosh, I don't know where he gets that from. So it's like, it was only right to have bubble gum for him but me and Moo, we're not candy eaters. Cookies and chips is us.
Me too.
So that's, yeah. I mean, both of them are going to be business owners, because I'm showing Moo now at 4. Chop has already seen it, and he's been around a lot of people that has their own business, so he knows the aspect of it. So they're going to be business owners, but hopefully, if God prevail, Moo will be the next president.
I can't wait to vote.
Me neither.
Okay, last question I have is, what would you tell parents who aren't, they don't know what Lyft is? What would you tell them about joining Lyft? They're not sure about it yet.
Look at me. I mean, come on. Stop. But I would tell them to join. I would tell them I would we can go together. Let's sit down with a coach together. Let's talk about your goals. I mean, even if I gotta talk to them first before I even send them over to you or Patrice, I would want anybody, male or female, to join this. It's inspiring. You have a mentor. They help you, help you with your goals, help you with the solution, anything. Your credit, your home, food, resources, childcare, workshops, seminars, whatever you need, Lyft will have you. So I would tell and encourage anybody to do it. No matter your color, no matter your race, your sex, join with Lyft.
You could just do my job for me. You're very All right. Okay. That's all the questions I have. Anything else you feel like you want to say or include that you didn't get a chance to?
Oh, I included everything. I'm happy. The interview was great. The questions was great. And I can't wait to see what's next.
We cannot wait either. Thank you so much, Natalya.